let me talk to you guys for a second about just some groundbreaking stuff that happened this week.
Okay.
Earth-shattering stuff that happened in this past week.
Okay.
I have waited 11 years for this item to finally be in my possession, and it has finally gotten into my possession. Thank you, EA Sports, for College Football 25. You actually made a good video game that's entertaining and fun to play. Appreciate you, EA Sports. Now, I know from now on it won't be fun because you'll just milk the crap out of it, which is fine. And there's Ultimate Team in there, even though that's not what anyone wants at a college football game. But the depth that the Dynasty mode has, the depth that the Road to Glory has, I don't know if you guys have seen videos of it, but like someone posted, like Road to Glory is where like you're the player, right? It's like the career mode, let's call it. And Player career, yep. And, you know, they integrated a lot of like stuff like NIL, which is the name, image, likeness, to pay players from like brands and whatnot. And then they also integrated some aspects of being a student athlete. Like, you know, having a girl text you out of the blue asking you if you want to hang out that night, and then you triple text her so she blocks you.
I love that.
So,
that's awesome.
Or, you know, going out and partying with your friends instead of studying for your tests, or
Oh my gosh.
just all kinds of great stuff. Unfortunately, there is not a UGA simulator portion.
Okay. Yeah, that's
but-
just iRacing.
It is
It
actually.
just comes with a free version of NFS Unbound.
It is actually racing.
BeamNG.
This is the Fake Racers podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Davey.
I'm Matthew.
And we are back this week after Pocono for the NASCAR
God, we're snappy.
regional series,
Look at
and we got one race before the Olympic break. So, yes,
Olympics.
Woo! Sports.
I'm excited.
Woo.
Olympics.
Finally a reason to like this place.
Yeah, it's that meme where it's like, you know, or it's like the Winnie the Pooh's like spirit floating out of him, and it's like my criticism of the U.S. whenever we're in any international sporting competition.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Anyway,
Joe,
go ahead.
No,
Joe doesn't like the Olympics, apparently.
no, I don't actually. I'm not a big Olympics.
he's not
guy.
a real patriot.
I'm not a real patriot.
See, what we're gonna
I'm a fake
do
patriot.
is we're gonna have you.
You're gonna
next
strap
winter,
me down.
Next winter, you're gonna watch curling with Weaver and I, and the rest of us that watch curling.
We'll live stream.
And we're gonna lock in.
Yep.
We're gonna live watch
Yep.
the Olympics.
Yep.
Live reactions.
Yep.
Quick,
Okay.
I'm all about it.
quick aside for that, there was a really cool thing. I didn't see it on the broadcast, and I think it was for Nashville, but NBC had like a little show package about it on Twitter where it was about like, oh, we're, you know, getting like disabled fans and whatever to NASCAR races, and they had Elise Post Willoughby, who is she's on the BMX Olympic team, and she rocks and probably gonna win gold. Her and her husband, oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's a paraplegic former pro, and I was like, oh, I know them. So it was
That's
pretty cool
cool.
to see some BMX on the NASCAR broadcast. So
That is cool. But
anyway,
You know what we saw on the NASCAR broadcast this weekend?
what did we see, Joe?
Oh no.
Ryan Blaney winning. Woo!
Okay. He's putting together a nice little season for himself.
He's in a better spot than he was last year, which they made a lot of mentions of. Arguably should have 3 wins on the year, should have won Gateway if they didn't miscalculate the fuel by probably like 6 ounces. But good calls with strategy to get him out in front. I think this race had a lot of strategy in it, which is good, but also still difficult to pass.
Yeah, it's really similar to road courses in that, like, it kind of depends on what your goal for the race is. Like, you can be really tempted by those stage points, or you can flip the stages and try to get the race win, which is what Blaney ended up doing. And you know, I think like Chris Buescher did it, Martin Truex Jr. did it. And that's why I love Pocono. Even though it doesn't always put on the best like wheel to wheel racing, there's always something There's always something worth watching in the like during the race strategy wise.
Yeah, that's what my dad and I were talking about that on Sunday morning. And I was mentioning, or he was kind of saying that Pocono's typically kind of boring, and I was like, it's a very fun place to drive, and it produces interesting races, but like not necessarily interesting racing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it very much is a triangular shaped road course because it races that same way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pocono, even if like you're saying, even if wheel to wheel it's not always great, like it's always interesting.
Yeah. I can't get enough of watching a pack of cars go around Pocono.
Yeah.
It's
always,
just so cool.
Yeah.
Strategery though.
Yeah, strategery, but yeah, that was like the thing. And
it kept some people from the strategery is essentially what kept Denny Hamlin from winning that race because he
Right.
just with all the yellows like at the end, like he just could not make up the positions despite being a really fast car.
Well, he was
Just-
closing
just
at the
didn't have
end
time.
too. If
Yeah,
he probably
he
had
was.
10 more laps, he could have got there. And then if he gets there, what happens, right?
Who knows? Yeah.
Another thing revolving around that. So early in the race, Ross Chastain lost a rotor or a tire, and that's gonna kind of make things very interesting. I think he's 20 points up on Bubba Wallace right now for the last playoff spot.
Plus 27. I've
Yeah.
got it pulled up right now.
So, I should have said 20-something points, and I would have been correct. But playoffs are contracting very quickly here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that close for Ross, actually.
Well, well, the big part of it is like Bubba had a really good day. That was
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing, and he came in like 50 up or whatever, and
He had a bad
Like-
day.
Now I gotta look.
it was the kind of race where, or I should say, the whole playoff picture, like coming in, you look at that and you think it's, Bubba's in a must-win situation, but there, days like this where your guys or the guys you're racing are having issues, and all you got to do is just stay out of trouble and just stack as much as you can, and all of a sudden he's right back in it again.
Yeah.
So
I think where people kind of get the idea that he needs to win a race is because looking at it right now, like there's only
There's
so many. I mean, there's a lot of race winners this season.
there's 4 spots or
and-
5 spots left.
4 spots.
4.
And
Yeah.
Truex is pretty much the guy on points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Truex is plus 137. He's 6th in points.
But Truex could win a race at any point, which doesn't really change anything. But and then those other guys that are kind of by the cut, Chris Buescher, who went on a tear at the midpoint of last season, so you never know when that's going to happen again. Ty Gibbs, who's been knocking on the door, but he's been kind of having more problems as of late.
Yeah.
And then we just talked about Ross Chastain and Bubba Wallace. I kind of didn't realize the picture was
Messy.
that messy. I kind of have
And-
as my enjoyment of the playoffs is quite low. I don't always pay attention. I like the racing that it puts on, but I don't always pay attention up until right leading up to the playoffs. But it's actually getting really, really interesting.
And we're going to a new track essentially this weekend.
We are,
Yeah.
which
So-
we'll get to that a little bit later.
We'll
talk
hint
about
at it
it.
later.
Yeah.
We talked last week about being thankful NASCAR didn't penalize Bubba Wallace because normally penalties come out on Tuesdays. Stat correction there. If you only listen to the Big Racers podcast, Bubba Wallace was fined by NASCAR $50,000. This week, though, Corey Lajoie did something that was arguably worse.
Makes sense.
Does anyone want to explain what Corey Lajoie did this weekend?
Corey Lajoie hooked Kyle Busch after getting blocked on the restart. And
Admitted to it?
kind of, yeah, he kind of. Here's the thing, I don't want to be the guy that plays devil's advocate here because I think what he did was boneheaded. And my personal opinion is that he, at the very least, aggressively got back in line, not caring if he wrecked him at the very least. But that said, it is hard to because he didn't directly admit it. I don't think. I think the person
No.
saying he gets what he deserves was like the crew chief or the spotter. But like,
Yeah.
it's hard to prove that. It's easy to say that it's a misjudgment. It's easy to say that any number of reasons why it happened. So like, as much as I disagree with Bubba's penalty, I understand there not being a penalty for this, but it did look horrible, and it was like grossly incompetent to a level that we don't very often see in the Cup Series. Like, it was just really bad. Like, it was a rookie mistake by a driver who is tenured, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, how to kind of parlay into what I was... Because I was just kind of, like, thinking about this on my way home of, like, what we were going to say. Because it's just embarrassing, kind of. You know, and it takes me back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago with Rodney Childers showing up, and it's like Corey can drive. Like, we know this. We've seen it. He has talent. Like, he can drive a race car fast, but I think the biggest thing that we've seen, because he's become a wrecking ball over the last year and a half, especially. And I think a big part of it is, like, when you're essentially, like, I don't want to say flying solo, but he's basically in this position where he's like the scrappy underdog who's trying to get his big shot, because we've seen that happen a lot, right? Like your Alex Bowmans, your Ross Chastains, your Matt DiBenedettos. And I've been on record on this show saying that like Corey feels like he's going to be the next guy to get that. But I think the big difference between all of those is like all of those guys, you know, stepped into established organizations that had like some kind of veteran leadership, and that's never been a thing at Spire. And I think what you've seen is Corey has, I guess, like grown into a lot of bad habits on the track, right? Like he's very reckless, and that's like the biggest thing that I thought about. That was just it was just reckless.
It's disappointing, right, to see a guy that likes to portray himself as this underdog figure, right? Whether he is or he isn't. And you say, like, oh, well, you know, Spire, like, the amount of resources and time and effort that Spire has put in to this team in the last 2 years to make it better. I almost wonder if Corey's got pressure on him knowing that they are getting better and knowing that the results aren't matching that investment, and knowing that if some young kid comes along with more sponsorship money, a la Carson Hocevar, it might be his head on the chopping block. Because now they're bringing in Michael McDowell next year. So if you want to talk about veteran leadership, there's a guy that, all intents and purposes, embodies that. For an organization. Does it allow Corey to maybe step back a little bit if he is taking that role at Spire? Probably. But it's also going to start to put more pressure on him.
Yeah, and I like, and there's a reason why they've put all of these resources into Corey, and a big part of it is Corey is extremely marketable. Like, stacking pennies, huge hit. How many commercials do you see every week though that have NASCAR drivers in them? There's not a lot. I've seen at least 2 with Corey in them this year, just this year alone. Like, he is a big personality. Like, clearly people think there is something there with Corey Lajoie.
Industry plant.
A little bit.
I mean, he's got big sponsorship deals too. I mean, Celsius, Chili's, like, those are not small deals.
Yeah. And like you were saying about Michael McDowell, that could be the best or the worst thing to happen to Corey Lajoie, because having that kind of veteran leadership, you know, kind of looking over shoulder and be like, hey, maybe don't do that, could be really good for him. But at the same time, Michael McDowell could absolutely be a stud next year, and if Corey Lajoie keeps making the same mistakes, it's going to make him look really bad, especially with Rodney Childers on top of the box. So, like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, you just can't do that. Like, I get getting blocked is going to piss you off, but you have to use your head there. And especially because it's Kyle Busch of all people, so you know you're not going to hear the end of it.
And you piss off other guys in the field when you cause an incident like that, right? Like,
took out like 6-7 cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Not a good look. Hoping they don't.
Boneheaded.
Yep. Bonehead. Cole Custer finally won an Xfinity race this year.
Yeah, woo.
Ford finally won an Xfinity race.
He's been knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Is that really their? Oh my god, that is their first Xfinity win.
Yep.
I just realized.
Ford has been muy bad.
There is something like related to that we didn't talk about last week. I don't think that kind of fits into that. So
What's that?
the whole Haley Deegan situation.
Oh yeah,
Right
that AM Racing was like, yeah, you're the problem pretty much this week, and
Which I don't think that's a wrong assessment, but at the same time, like, they have not done themselves favors either.
no, what? Josh
No.
Berry had a pit stop and they weren't ready to put tires on the car, like.
Yeah. And like I know a couple of people who work for a couple Xfinity teams, and they were talking about there is a lot of really good people and equipment at that team, and he said that a lot of people were not very pumped that Haley Deegan was going to be their driver, but at the same time, like, there are some people who are very out of their depth there, and it's not just the driver.
Right.
So Ford's entire pipeline is just so screwed right now.
They
Oh my God.
they don't have a
A little
pipeline.
bit.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's not kid ourselves, because Cole's most likely going to be in that Haas car next year
In Cup.
in Cup.
Which he deserves, honestly.
Right,
So.
but
Which he
again,
deserves.
don't know if that's necessarily the place I would want to be. Depending on what level of
Yeah.
support they get from whoever.
Very fair.
And then we don't really know the state of their Xfinity program driver lineup wise is very much in flux. Davey was out here sharing lies this morning because they benefited the drivers he likes.
True.
Um,
It's very true.
although I wouldn't be
If it
surprised.
sounds positive, I'll throw it in there.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if it one part of that bit of that rumor was real, or that lie was real.
I will say, because like we were talking about, because I think I mentioned the rumor was Riley Herbst to the 19 before it was announced to be Briscoe. Bob Pockris has been hinting a lot that Riley Herbst to a third 2311 car could happen, and
Oh, it is going to happen.
yeah, and honestly, it makes sense the
Right.
more I think about it.
Think about it. Riley Herbst's dad
Unfortunately.
is funding his Cup career. 2311 probably needs some money to go buy that third charter.
Yeah,
It's a win-win
Not to mention-
for everybody.
like everybody's penciling in Corey Heim for either Denny Hamlin's car for when he goes to 2311 or the third 2311 car. But Corey Heim, he's only run a few Xfinity races, hasn't he?
Corey Hine, I don't think you need to run Xfinity races anymore. With the way
You
this
think
Cup
so?
car is. I think you can run truck races and be fine. Because here's the thing. For every Zane Smith, there's a Carson Hocevar, it seems like.
That's true, yeah.
Right? Like, Zane has
Yeah.
struggled this year.
He's turned it up the last couple weeks, though. I'll say.
Hocevar has been very consistent, at least in that 20 to 25 range.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think Xfinity starts are an end-all, be-all. And he's looked fine in his Xfinity starts that he has had.
Yeah. But yeah, my main point was that Riley Herbst has a placeholder for a year or two. Like,
That makes
see
sense.
it.
Probably.
Also, this is a lot of from the shop discussion for
Yeah.
For hot laps.
hot laps, guys.
Don't worry
what
about
are we
it.
doing?
Will Power won at Iowa on Saturday. Scott
Stingray
McLaughlin.
Rob died.
Scott McLaughlin won on Saturday night. Will Power won Sunday. I think I said Saturday. Anyways,
Stingray Rob went up dog.
Oh my god. Yeah,
how-
that was bad.
Those races were bad.
Yeah.
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 They ruined Iowa for IndyCar.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I also
Ivy. Oh no.
I thought about making this my bottom split moment, but then I had another one that's more personal. But
Uh-oh.
we've never accused IndyCar of making good decisions. What was the deal with the David Malukas thing? Where like he's injured and they're like, "Well, you have to race."
And then the next day
Like-
they're like, "Oh no, you don't have to race."
Yeah, like I get the okay. So for our listeners, if you don't know what happened, they have like similar to how the charter agreement makes you have to enter every single race. They have like $1 million prize pool that is only for cars that run every single race. And they also have a rule that a driver cannot start a race if they have not turned a lap in practice or qualifying. And David Malukas has been injured. It is Malukas, right? I'm not getting it wrong. I'm pretty sure. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't referring to the wrong driver. But he's been dealing with a shoulder and neck injury and ran qualifying and was like, I can't do this. There's no way I'm going to be able to run the race. And so they got Connor Daly all fitted and everything. And then IndyCar was like, hell no. We know Connor Daly's run a lot of races, but he can't race on Saturday. David has to start. And he was like, dog, I'm like dying. And they're like, oh, too bad. And so he ran like 20 laps and was like, yeah, I'm dying, and then pulled off. And then we're like, okay, now Connor can drive tomorrow. Like, it's such a ridiculous situation. Like, there needs to be some kind of contingency plan when a driver is like injured, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously he thought he could race through it. If he knew he wasn't going to be able to handle it, Connor would have qualified the car. But just absurd. This is such a stupid situation.
Not even the dumbest IndyCar adjacent thing that happened in Iowa.
Yeah.
The Indy Lights race got shortened to like however many laps it was shortened to. I think it was like 50 something or 60 something laps or something like that. Anyway, they went green. They got a yellow at lap 13. They paced around and they took the green again. Same caution at lap 40. They paced from lap 13 to lap 40, and they raced for like a total of 27 laps.
Sounds like a fast race.
I was watching that race, and I could not.
Why were you watching that
it.
race?
Because it was on, and I was around.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Ass.
Whoa!
Why was I watching cars go in circles? I don't know, because I like that shit.
Yeah, IndyCar is, oh god, they just can't get out of their own way. It's just impressive. Like,
it's a constant struggle.
They've never seen a bad decision they didn't want to make.
We will try to get answers this weekend.
We'll knock on their door.
Yeah.
John IndyCar, I have some questions.
Roger Penske, where's our IndyCar game?
Take the Logitech wheel.
Yeah.
Roll up to the track with it.
But yeah, that also scary last lap crash. Stingray Rob, like Davey said, went up dog. Luckily, seems to be okay though. Yeah, that was okay. Nasty.
All right, let's go from the shop officially.
Oh God, where is it?
Oh
no, I wasn't scrolled to the right part of the soundboard. There it is.
Jesus, man.
NASCAR is bringing an option tire to Richmond for the first race back from the Olympic break.
That's cool.
I like it.
All right.
I think it would have been cooler at North Wilkesboro if the weather shenanigans and whatnot, and because like we kind of saw at North Wilkesboro where they practiced on that softer tire, it was wearing pretty well, but it was quite fast in the heat, and then the race was at night, and it went.
I think this race is a day race too.
Could be fun. Could be good. I have high hopes. Listen, I called that the Iowa race, not the IndyCar one, obviously the NASCAR one, the one that matters. I called that the Iowa NASCAR race was going to be really good when everyone was upset about it being a repave, and I was right. I called it the Sonoma repave was going to put on a good race. I was right. Listen.
I was in Japan.
Listen. That Richmond race is going to be a straight banger, and the tire strategies are going to be fun to watch.
When Joey Logano leads
right here,
all
mic drop.
400 laps,
not dropping it because it's loud.
I'm going to replay this clip.
Yeah, it does start at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Is it?
Oh my God! Never mind.
Does it
Never
start at 6 p.m. on a
mind.
Saturday or a Sunday?
Never mind.
Sunday.
Oh my God!
No.
Why? That's like double bad.
No, no. I take it all back. It's going to be awful. They're going to practice, and it's going to be really cool, and the tires are going to be wearing, and everyone's going to be really excited. And then they're going to have the race at night, and everyone's going to be like, this is a failed experiment. It didn't work at the All-Star race, so it's never going to work here.
Failed experiment. That's a terrible phrase. I hate that phrase. The only way an experiment fails is if you don't get it off. You know what I mean? Like, just running it and running through it, it's inherently a success because you tried something new. You know, like when you're a 5-year-old and your mom's like, eat your broccoli, and you're like, no, I don't want to eat my broccoli, so you don't eat your broccoli. That's a failed experiment. But if you eat the broccoli and you don't like it, that's a successful experiment because now you know you don't like broccoli. And then you're not going till you're like 30 years old and think you don't like broccoli.
Like I was saying,
broccoli before.
It's just going to be a bunch of NASCAR podcast media folks, aka Clear Bumper Door, if you know what I'm saying. They're just going to be like, it didn't work. The tires aren't wearing enough. We know, like, I saw the data, and yeah, the tires may have like 3 seconds of fall off, but that's not the problem. They're not falling off enough. Meanwhile, everyone's shifting down into second gear at short tracks and getting crazy power off, and no one's able to pass because of that. But no, it's the tires. It's the tires, Freddie. Keep telling me it's the tires.
Tires and the horsepower.
We tried nothing, and we still can't figure it out.
If I hear that shit one more time, I'm gonna go to NASCAR Race Analytics. I'm gonna get every goddamn lap time that's ever been run this season, and I'm gonna show all the data to him and his dumb face in that dumb podcast. And I want them to shut up. I swear to God, they're the whole reason that we're having all this discourse about tires. I haven't brought this up on this podcast yet, but I'm so sick of people like them, and it's mostly them, always say like, "Oh, the tires just don't wear enough." Like that's the answer to everything. I hate it.
See, the problem with your solution to that is he can't read, so even if you show him those numbers, it's not going to do anything.
Wait, who can't read?
A certain spotter.
Any number of them.
Any of them?
Yeah.
Except for TJ.
TJ can read.
Yeah, TJ's cool.
TJ's cool.
TJ's got like a 6th grade reading level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like what I said after the North Wilkesboro race. Like, you could just look at how absurdly fast the corner speeds go and how fast they just get out of the corners. And you're like, I wonder what the problem could be. So.
It's tires.
Hopefully it works, but...
It's tires. It's always tires. It's always tires. Why is it's always
just
tires?
Take the tires off. Problem solved.
Talent rumors are flying wild for the new media partners next year. Adam Alexander is rumored to be the CW's pick for their lead commentary.
Good.
Yep, exactly. Marty Smith's name has reemerged in NASCAR circles.
Huge. It's a big deal.
Between Prime and TNT, I believe. Rick Allen still doesn't have a home because they're having Lee Diffie take over for him on the Cup coverage, and I assume they're going to have Lee Diffie do the Cup coverage next year since they won't have IndyCar.
Rick Allen deserves to be on the Cup broadcast.
He does.
I like Lee Diffie more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Rick Allen is, like, extremely disrespected, and it makes me mad. But he's not nearly as bad as people make him out to be. But like you said, Lee Diffie is, like, world class. Yeah.
Rick Allen is, like, not the highest quality, but he's consistent. He's a great lead.
Yeah.
And he's consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get.
He knows how to get... If you ever notice, he does a really good job of keeping things on track and on schedule during a broadcast. He doesn't let he doesn't let it get away from them. Even when he had to deal with Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, and Jeff Burton.
I just... Like, that is... It's too much.
Like, I'm curious to see how Lee Diffie does. Because he does a good job with James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell, but those two are very different compared to Burton and Letarte. You know,
it's true.
Steve Letarte is the host of the best podcast on Dirty Mo.
Correct.
And let me tell you, he gets out of control sometimes on that podcast, and it's what makes it great.
He does.
Yeah.
It's what makes it great. But
But I see Steve Letarte being like a really good wingman to the lead usually.
Yes.
Like he's usually the guy that's like maybe not physically but like verbally getting the lead around the shoulder and then like explaining further. Like,
yeah, buddy,
he's that guy.
you're an idiot. But let me explain this for you real quick.
Not what I was saying, but
yeah.
Anyway,
has Marty Smith ever done play-by-play before? Because I know he was a pit reporter. So that's my only thing, because I think Marty Smith's fantastic, but that's my only concern.
Yeah, not that I know of. I'm assuming he's done other sports play-by-play.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why Davey's going hell yeah, and I think you're going hell yeah, is Marty Smith has a very good personality.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a way to get Marty and McGee to both be on for some NASCAR coverage, to give them a NASCAR studio show on Amazon or something, or let them do a segment on their radio show Saturday mornings just about NASCAR more consistently, that'd be cool. Because here's the thing. You want to know something really cool about Marty Smith and Ryan McGee? Because I love those guys so much.
Yeah.
They do all the, they have their show on the SEC network, right? Well, guess what? Speed Weeks every year, they are live at Daytona. It's awesome. They still go to Indy for the 500. Like, they're motorsports fans at the end of the day, and that's what we need more of in the media space. You don't need outsiders coming in. Will it be good if like TNT can bring in some of their other personalities? Yes, be very good. But I don't need them anchoring my coverage.
Man, if he wasn't retiring, could you imagine Charles Barkley covering NASCAR?
Oh, he's gonna show up. He's gonna show up. He loves the
so
camera,
good.
man.
Yeah. I love Charles Barkley.
Oh my god.
But the fact that NASCAR media is going to look very different next year is exciting and also worrying. And it's going to take, people are going to overreact to everything, as they always do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to wait and see how it goes.
I'm excited.
And
I
then-
think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And then I believe NASCAR is handling all of the at the track production stuff for everything. I thought was what I saw.
I am not sure if I've seen that. I thought it was maybe for certain series, but it could have been for everything.
All the stuff for the CW is NASCAR. And then
Yes.
the CW's licensing it. And then we'll put the talent in the booth and blah, 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 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I think for the other series, I thought it was that they're filming everything. Because the other thing to remember is practice and qualifying will be on Prime and Max for both halves of the year, pretty much, except for select events. So, at least for the Cup Series.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. I'm glad things are getting shaken up.
All right.
Yeah, same.
Noah Gregson's going to FRM. We talked about it last week a little bit. Any final thoughts?
Did we want to talk about what you were mentioning before the show about FRM?
Great.
Or-
All right, here we
yeah,
go.
that's probably important, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple things came out of this little FRM thing, because Noah, now it's going to be Noah and Todd and Bob Jenkins. I don't
By the way, Todd had a fantastic Twitter post about this. It was hilarious.
about what.
So he said that he was like something about like he and Noah being reunited, and somebody said like imagine telling him this after Mosport 2018, and then Todd just responded to him with a picture of them wrecking in the final corner. Said we are so back.
FRM is kind of trying to position themselves for a veteran driver for their third car. What that means is unclear. Zane Smith still doesn't have a home. I've seen his name floating around in the ether.
Kevin Harvick.
Zane Smith is still floating around in the ether. Ryan,
You don't think Kevin Harvick part-time's a possibility?
I don't know why you'd put a guy part-time in a car.
Fucking race it? What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know why you'd put a guy part-time in a car, because it's working out so well for the 16 for colleague.
Yeah. AJ seems like he's having a great time right now.
AJ is having a fantastic time right now. Each and every week, he is loving
The
life.
vibes are
even
just
more.
immaculate.
They're great. Something changed there.
I would
man.
I would definitely compare what's going on at Colleague to what is happening at Front Row. That's definitely the first comparison I would make too, for sure.
Thank you. They're also going to be moving the truck team out of the shop. They're going to move the truck team to its own little base because they're obviously not buying the Stuart Haas shop, which was the rumor for a while there.
Yep.
And
Because what Lane Riggs needs is less help. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
They also might be renumbering their cars. Who knows? But
I didn't hear that.
I-
I'm going to just say that you're lying because it's funny.
I've seen people talk about a bunch of different drivers for that car.
Liar.
One of which that I like.
Eric Jones.
Yeah, there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. I have no clue anymore, man. I'm just
Am I ruining
waiting.
this? I feel like
I'm
I'm
just
ruining
waiting for the announcement. Yeah, a little bit, but that's okay. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Anyways, Davey, what's your bottom split moment of the week?
I left my water bottle in the locker at the gym today.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Ugh. Did.
disgusting.
That's no
I had to drink out of this pretty cup.
Oh, it's got a gold star, straw, and hearts. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, sure, man.
Matt,
do you say?
Matt, what's your bottom split moment?
My bottom slip moment is shit keeps falling off of my walls. It needs to stop. In the last week, it's happened 3 times. Like right after we recorded last week, one of my plaques with all my BMX stuff is on the wall right here. One of those fell off. On Friday, I woke up to I have these framed pastel drawings that my grandma's longtime boyfriend did, and like one of them is like a really cool like rotary snowplow, and it fell off my wall in my dining room and took out 2 die casts and my Horizon Zero Dawn Lego set and just yard sailed all of it. And so there was broken glass all over my floor on Friday. Nice. And then last night at like 3 a.m, my whiteboard fell off my closet door over there. And so I had to pick up, the uncomfortably close-up picture of Robert Presley hero card, and just like all pens and magnets and erasers and various other things that were stuck onto it were just scattered across my floor this morning. So
Perfect.
Stuff needs to stop falling off the wall. It's up there for a reason. So
Stay up there.
yeah,
That's awesome.
My bottom slip moment this week, I was changing the oil on my mom's car, and I was going to have her pull the car up on the ramps, and as she was pulling the car up on the ramps, she got frustrated with not being able to get it up over on the, the flat bit of the ramps, and drove right over the edge of the ramps. So,
Oh no! I know that was. I know your soul hurt so bad
yeah.
when you heard that inevitable crunch.
No, it was okay. The car was okay.
Good.
Everything was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you get it down?
Off the ramps?
Yeah.
Well, it had enough clearance to where it
Put that bitch in reverse and just floor it.
No, it had enough clearance to where I kind of like one of the ramps got flung out from under the car. Not like,
oh my god.
not like
Like a missile.
Put a hole in the neighbor's garage.
no,
Yeah.
not at all. But the other one got wedged under, so I kind of had to finagle it out. But it was okay. It was okay. So then I put the car up on the ramps, and then everything was okay, which is what I should have done in the first place. Was put the car up on the ramps myself.
See, that was a failed experiment.
Well, no, because now I know. Now I know not to let my mother drive the car up on the ramps when she needs the oil changed on her car. Now I know.
So was the bottom split moment of the week you learning that or it happening?
It happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And then you learn something.
Exactly.
That's life, guys.
You got to learn something every day.
That's life.
Help
I'll tell you
people.
what.
Stories. There's a little moment that makes you go, huh?
Exactly. Changed the oil, did it all by myself. Was proud, Oil just going everywhere, all over the garage floor.
I'm telling you what, Streets won't forget this one, man. This is our best episode yet. I love this one.
We haven't had an unhinged one like this in a while.
Unhinged, but like kind of on top. Like this
Oh,
one's
yeah.
like a great mix.
All right,
Yeah.
don't ruin it.
Whatever we did today, we got to do. We got to do every Tuesday.
Road to Pro moment of the week. I'll go first so Davey doesn't yell at me this week.
Damn, Skippy, you will.
College Football 25 coming out. I'm going to play it so much. All right, that's my Road to Pro moment. I'm having fun, even though I'm not very good at the game. I'm losing more games than I'm winning, but I'm having fun. Choo-choo.
Train.
It's just in time for mine.
Matthew, what's your Road to Pro moment?
My road
That's
to pro
right.
moment.
It is just in time for yours because
Yeah.
you did the. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
My road to pro moment is I got. Do you mind? Union Pacific knows. Like he's gonna shout us out. I saw the world's largest steam engine on Friday. The Union Pacific Big Boy number 4014 was on display in the Roseville Yard, and then on its way to Sparks, Nevada, it went right over there, right by my house. And so I got a pretty cool video. Joe, put the video in here. And Writing it down.
Joe is so upset you gave him that work to do.
I am.
He's so mad.
I'm like fuming.
His
right
heart
now.
dropped.
It did.
All he wants to do,
My pen doesn't
is
work either.
yell at his recruits for texting back women.
Pretty
and
much.
now he has to. Now he has to do that.
He's got to do editing.
Now he has to look at a video of a train.
But yeah, so there is the overpass, and then immediately goes into a tunnel that goes under the hill that my house is
I'm not
on.
syncing this video up with your description,
And
by the way.
that's
we're
fine.
just gonna
I
play
don't
the
expect you
video.
to.
Okay, great.
That's fine.
Good.
And so
Doesn't
I got a pretty
expect
cool
me to.
video of me on the side of the cliff filming the big boy coming through. There were so many foamers outside my house; it was ridiculous. But it was pretty cool. You've heard me say foamers before.
No, I have not.
Foamers are essentially train weebs. That's the best way I can describe it. So
It's
They
like that one
like they
English
foam
guy
at the
on
mouth?
TikTok.
yeah, that's like they get so excited for trains that they start foaming at the mouth. So
I always
Do you have
I know that
rabies?
train guy on TikTok, the one that has the camera that
the
like,
face
is-
cam.
Yeah,
Yes,
and he
Frick.
like is always sniffly for some reason. I don't
I
know.
love that guy.
That guy's kind of awesome, I will admit.
Yeah,
But
but so
I
that was
guess
my Road to Pro moment. So
all right, Davey,
I
what's,
guess
how
it's
about
me
you?
now.
What's your road to pro moment?
You want to know something really crazy, Joe? Is like I care about my friends, right? Because my road to pro moment is that I get to see Joe this week, and Joe
Aw.
just wants to play NCAA football. He
It's
wants to
actually
play
called
college
college
football
football. It's not NCAA.
He just wants to
football
play.
anymore.
He just wants to play college football game, and I'm excited to see my friend Joe. And you know, I'm sorry that I can't be that Joe. I really hope you can forgive me.
yeah, I'm actually changing. My bottom slip moment is that I can't be there now. So.
That's hey, you know.
How much is a plane ticket?
least you got to
I think
see
I'm
a
racing
cool
this
train.
weekend.
Ah, boo.
Yeah.
God,
You could write it off as a work expense.
I could technically.
Joe. After all the nonsense I've had to go through to actually see you in person, you are the last human being on this planet Earth that should be talking.
What do you
Sorry,
mean?
excuse me, Earth.
What do you mean? All
Well,
the
guys,
effort
that
you've
was
had
the
to go
Fake Racers
through.
podcast.
I'm
I just
slightly
want to thank you all
confused.
for watching and or listening. You know, wherever you get your podcast, please make sure to comment on or like the video. Spotify actually introduced comments on podcasts now, so make sure you do that if you happen to do that. At least give us a rating if you haven't already. Find us on Twitter at Fake Racers or at Track and Turf Media. And then make sure that you also find us on YouTube, where you're already listening if you are on YouTube, but Track and Turf on YouTube. We have some JTN broadcasts this week, Joe.
Yeah, when are they?
Probably Thursday.
Yeah, we got Bomb Squad racing Thursday, and then we got Fuel
Yeah,
racing
weird.
Wednesday night.
Weird how I knew that, right?
Um,
It's almost like I pay attention.
Track and Turf, USRL Track and Turf Truck Series Thursday on Captain Esports.
Captain Esports this week. We couldn't race last week because
Someone was bad.
the
That's,
iRacing
how is that?
iRacing servers were down. What's up?
How is that not someone's bottom split moment?
It's fine.
We had some really good bottom split moments. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
We did.
Yeah.
Didn't get to race, but we're at Bristol this week for realsies this time.
Oh God.
And I'm currently working on getting someone to broadcast our Cup races, the USRL Cup Series, on Saturday nights. But I figured out my streaming. I have OBS finally correctly set up, the actual OBS, and I streamed the Cup race this past Saturday. And it's likely that I'll stream it again.
Not this weekend, though.
Not this weekend, but
Mm-mm.
in the future, you know.
No.
What's up, Joe? What's on your mind? Joe's thinking.
What if I loaded my wheel and my laptop into the back of my car?
I'm not. No, we're not doing
There's
that.
not
We're
enough space
doing
in my
that.
car for that.
We're not doing that.
Darn.
I'm enjoying my time with my friend.
Aw.
Matt, you got anything? Matt, you said you're racing this weekend.
Yeah. We got a race in the Bay Area.
Cool.
Prunedale, which
See if Tommy will come out.
I think it's. Is he north or south of the Bay Area?
He's in
I-
San Jose. I shouldn't have said
Oh,
that out
maybe
loud.
maybe I
but
can ask him.
Who cares?
Who cares? That's a pretty large area.
Yeah,
in.
small town of San Jose. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm gonna be there on Saturday. I probably won't camp out because I don't really want to sleep in a tent.
Aw.
I'd rather just drive like 2 hours and go home.
Still cool.
But I also haven't raced in like a month, so I don't know how I'm gonna do. So it's probably gonna go poorly. But
That's
we'll see.
okay.
So
Hey, you'll get conditioned back in, and then when it's no longer 5 billion degrees, you'll be able to race a lot more often. It'll be fine.
yeah, it was only like 85, 90 degrees today. So I'm like, all right,
Nice.
I'm gonna go practice tomorrow. So.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, I'm excited to get back on my bike.
Beautiful. Well, Joe, unless you have anything.
Nope.
Well, once again, we appreciate you guys listening. Seriously, we do. Don't let Robert Presley scare you. Robert Presley isn't real. And we hope you tune in next week to the another edition of the Fakers podcast. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Goodbye.